Hello and welcome to Anthem Chapter 1 Part 2, where you will do some evidence-based analysis based on what you read in Part 2 of Chapter 1 of Anthem today. So our learning targets are to complete evidence-based responses using information from the text and explore the themes of friendship and morality in the novel of Anthem. All right, so this is the assignment that you will have today. And it's a little small on here, but you will have the full section. So you're going to answer two questions based on the excerpts provided for you, and I'll show you that full page in a second. So you have, just like we did with Super Toys last all summer long, you're going to have one question based on an excerpt. The excerpt will be a little bit longer than last time, and they will be provided for you on the sheet. However, you need to read the excerpt below and answer the questions. Choose one piece of evidence that best supports your answer and include at least one sentence of analysis, all right, after you've included the quote. Do not end on the quote. Include a direct quote with a transition to support your claim. Include another sentence that ties the other two together, so a concluding sentence. And there is a graphic organizer that will be attached to this assignment if you would like to use that first. And I'm going to show you right now how to go about doing that. So the graphic organizer has two sets of boxes that look like this. You have a restate, an answer, a citation, and an explanation and a closing sentence. So for this, I took that example that we did a while back with regards to chocolate. This is on the how to complete, race format answers, which is in the Files tab under, I think it's Class Materials. And we went over it at the beginning of the year. So basically, I just took pieces of information from that and I broke them down. So you restate, there are many health benefits to dark chocolate. And I usually put the answer in the same sentence. So I split this in half, such as providing the body with cancer-fighting chemicals. So this essentially would be one question or one answer. If you wanted to write out, there are many benefits to dark chocolate, period, and then one of those benefits is it provides the body with cancer-fighting chemicals, you can do that. That's fine. It doesn't matter as long as the information is there. Now, I gave you the same piece of information. You only need to do this once and in one way. But I gave you, this is the basic way, this is the more advanced way. So you need to introduce your quote. Not a lot of people are doing that, all right? And it doesn't have to be with, in the text it states, or the author says. It can be, all right? But you should, before you even say that, you should introduce the idea. So imagine you could actually help your body by eating something that you already love, okay? That's me telling you, hey, this is what I'm going to talk about. And then I use the basic. In the article, the author states, quote, an antioxidant found in chocolate called introction was linked to lower rates of, should say lung cancer. Sorry, that's a typo on my part. Rates of lung cancer. All right. That's absolutely acceptable. Then you would go on to do your explanation. However, if you want to make it a little more advanced, what you can do is you can take that quote and use it almost as if it's a part of your own words, but you have to start a sentence to insert that quote in. So I started the same way. Imagine you could actually help your body by eating something that you already love. Many scientists believe an antioxidant found in chocolate called catechin was linked to lower rates of lung cancer. All right. If you notice the dots, it means I took out the rest of the quote that is not important. Too many people are writing 3 and 4 sentences worth of quotes when all you need is a fragment of one sentence. All right, so if you saw that, I started the sentence, many scientists believe, and then I used the quote as if it were the rest of my sentence. Some people already do that, and that's awesome. This is the more advanced way of quoting. If you keep saying, the text states, the author states, the article says, blah, 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 you're going to start losing points for your organization and flow because there is no flow. It keeps cutting it off with this transition that's always the same and never varied when you don't actually need to use them. All right? Then you would give your explanation. Now, if you notice, this explanation is not just one sentence long. So some scientists believe that if you consume the right kind of chocolate, at least 70% dark, you could actually help your body avoid certain types of cancers. That is me essentially rephrasing what the quote just said. That'll get you about a 2 out of 4. However, if you keep going with it, that's going to improve. So there is still much more research that must be done in this area. But if it could help, why not try? It's just a little thing that says, oh, hey, there's more to be done, but that's including more analysis. As long as you are eating chocolate in moderation, the benefits could outweigh the negatives. So now I'm just adding in that warning, that caveat that they give you by saying, hey, just eat it in moderation, little bits at a time. All the things that you're going to add to this that are going to add a different level of meaning are going to bring you up to a 4 instead of a 2. But if you just simply rephrase what you've already said, you're going to get a 2 out of 4. If you add a little bit more that stretches the explanation a little bit, you're going to get a 3. If you add a little bit more than that, you're going to get a 4. You get out of it what you put into it, right? Kind of like a capitalist society like we studied yesterday, the same goes for grades, not just money. All right, and then I gave a closing sentence. However, this is only one benefit of dark chocolate. The more research is done, the more we will know about this superfood and how it will affect us in the future. So that I've moved on, I've stated a different opinion, and that essentially would, if we had another paragraph, bring us into another paragraph that would tell us another benefit to dark chocolate. Okay? And then, if you use this, all you have to do is copy and paste it into a paragraph on the actual page and turn that page in. Okay? I don't want to get just this set of boxes. If you need to set it up like this, that's fine. It takes 2 extra minutes to copy and paste it into this format. So please take the time to do that. And then, when should I use the graphic organizer? If you're scoring below 75s on writing assignments, if you're still having trouble with the race format, if you want to help organize your ideas before you write, anyone can use this for whatever purpose suits you. But if you're really like avoiding writing because you're not really sure how to do this process, you should be using this graphic organizer. So unless you're scoring hundreds and you're giving me outstanding writing pieces, I should see everyone using this. And if I continue getting, failing writing assignments, I'm going to tell you point blank, you need to use this before you actually turn in your work to me. All right? So please do yourself a favor. Use the organizer. It will help you organize your thoughts. We'll pull back to shorter responses for a little while, and then we'll gradually work ourselves up to longer responses. All right, now we're going to move on and read the next section of this after I go over the actual worksheet with you. All right, as promised, this is what your worksheet looks like. So the blue are the directions that I just read to you. The excerpt is in green, and then the actual question is in black. So you can, when you edit the document, just click this, shift down, and start typing. So what does it says? How does international show friendship? International shows friendship when he blah, blah, blah. Whatever the heck it is that he does, you are definitely going to find everything you need in this. I made sure the excerpts were a little bit longer this time and had everything you needed for those pieces of information to get the best response. And then the last one is how does he feel? How does equality feel about committing crimes against his society? All right. So one is about friendship, and one is about a moral dilemma. All right. As long as you do all parts and you do RACE, please do not just give me one sentence and expect to get a good grade. All right. And then the other part of this is just the graphic organizer. Once you open that, you will see that there is one for each of the 2 questions. Feel free to use it for both of them. All right. And then once you're done with this, like I said, you just close it, you copy and paste it back into the evidence-based questions. You can put it here. If you've color-coded it, that's fine. Once you're done, if you wanted to change it, it would be nice if you changed it. And all you have to do to change things is, come here and tell it, what font you want it to have, and tell it what color you want it to be. You just say, hey, I want the whole thing to be black, and then you're good to go. Okay? Once you're done with that, then you are set. The text for this is down here. There is a rubric that you can compare your ideas to if you want to, and then you can move on from there. So now we're going to officially move on and start reading this portion of the document. All right, so now we're going to read Chapter 1, Part 2, and we're going to find out now that Equality has been given the job of street sweeper, how he feels about it, and what is this crime that he considers himself to be guilty of. So we're going to start finding that out. Okay. Such would have been our life had we not committed our crime which changed all things for us. And it was our curse which drove us to our crime. We had been a good street sweeper, and like our brother street sweepers, save for our cursed wish to know. We looked too long at the stars at night, and at the trees and the earth, and when we cleaned the yard of the home of the scholars, we gathered the glass vials, the pieces of metal, and the dried bones which they had discarded. We wished to keep these things and to study them, but we had no place to hide them. So we carried them to the city cesspool, and then we made the discovery. It was one day of the spring before last. We street sweepers work in brigades of 3, and we were with Union 53992, they of the half-brain, and with International 48818. Now Union are a sickly lad, and sometimes they are stricken with convulsions, when their mouth froths and their eyes turn white. But International are different. They are tall, strong youth, and their eyes are like fireflies, and for there is laughter in their eyes. We cannot look upon International and not smile in answer. For this they were not liked in the home of the students, as it is not proper to smile without reason. And also, they were not liked because they took pieces of coal and they drew pictures upon the walls, and they were pictures which made men laugh. But it is only our brothers in the home of artists who are permitted to draw pictures, so International were sent to the home of the street sweepers like ourselves. All right, so Union, he has seizures that in the society probably go unchecked because they don't really have a lot of medical advancement going on. So earlier he talked about Union as being a half-brained or half-wit, saying he's not super smart. It's probably just the fact that he has these convulsions which affect his brain. Once you have a convulsion, it's very hard for your brain to come back from that. It's like a reset button where the electrical impulses completely get fried and mixed around. So if you don't have medication to keep this from happening, your brain is going to completely keep getting reset all the time. We also find out that International is also not liked because he's different. He's funny. He's always laughing. He's always trying to make others laugh. He's what we would consider a class clown. Okay? So now you have to think, do you think all the street sweepers were not liked in the home of the students? Is this a punishment? Is this the lowest job in society, or one of the lowest jobs in society, where they secretly punish people that they think deserve it because these people are superior in some way, shape, or form to others, or they just don't like following the rules because it's not fun? And let's face it, the rules in this society are a little more extreme than most rules would be. So of course they're not going to be fun, and it's not really for anybody's safety or protection. It's just because the government wants to rule everyone. International and we are friends. This is an evil thing to say, for it is a transgression, the great transgression of preference, to love any among men better than the others, since we must love all men, and all men are our friends. So International and we have never spoken of it, but we know. We know when we look into each other's eyes, and we look thus without words. We both know other things also, strange things for which there are no words, and these things frighten us. So he is speaking here when he talks about loving someone and loving International. He's not talking about loving him in a romantic way. He's talking about loving him in a friendly way. And it's also a crime to prefer one person over another. So basically they're saying friendship is a crime in this community. So on that day of the spring before last, Union were stricken with convulsions on the edge of the city, near the city theater. We left them to lie in the shade of the theater tent, and we went with International to finish our work. We came together to the great ravine behind the theater. It is empty save for the trees and weeds. Beyond the ravine there is a plain, and beyond the plain there lies the uncharted forest, about which men must not think. We were gathering the papers and the rags which the wind had blown from the theater when we saw an iron bar among the weeds. So it was old and rusted by many rains. We pulled with all our strength, but we could not move it. So we called International, and together we scraped the earth around the bar. Of a sudden, the earth fell in before us, and we saw an old iron grill over a black hole. International stepped back, but we pulled at the grill, and it gave way, and then we saw iron rings as steps leading down a shaft into the darkness without bottom. We shall go down, we said to International. It is forbidden, they answered. We said, the council does not know of this hole, so it cannot be forbidden. And they answered, since the council does not know of this hole, there can be no law permitting to enter it, and everything which is not permitted by law is forbidden. But we said, we shall go nonetheless. They were frightened, but they stood by and watched us go. We hung on the iron rings with our hands and our feet. We could see nothing below us, and above us the hole open upon the sky grew smaller and smaller till it came to be the size of a button. But still we went down. Then our foot touched the ground. We rubbed our eyes, for we could not see. Then our eyes became used to the darkness, that we could not believe what we saw. No men known to us could have built this place, nor the men known to our brothers who lived before us, and yet it was built by men. It was a great tunnel. Its walls were hard and smooth to the touch. It felt like stone, but it was not stone. On the ground there were long, thin tracks of iron, but it was not iron. It felt smooth and cold as glass. We knelt and we crawled forward, our hand groping along the iron line to see where it would lead. But there was an unbroken night ahead. Only the iron tracks glowed through it, straight and white, calling us to follow. But we could not follow, for we were losing the puddle of light behind us. So we turned and crawled back, our hand on the iron line, and our heartbeat in our fingertips without reason, and then we knew. So this is most likely an old either train tunnel or subway tunnel that he is crawling through, that he has just found. All right, and now he's kind of very sure of something that he knows here. We knew suddenly that this place was left from the unmentionable times. So it was true, and those times had been, and all the wonders of those times. Hundreds upon hundreds of years ago, men knew secrets which we have lost, and we thought, this is a foul place. They are damned who touch the things of the unmentionable times. But our hand, which followed the track as we crawled, clung to the iron as if it would not leave it, as if the skin of our hand were thirsty and begging of the metal some secret fluid beating in its coldness. We returned to the earth. International looked upon us and stepped back. Equality, they said, your face is white. But we could not speak, and we stood looking upon them. They backed away as if they dared not touch us. Then they smiled, but it was not a gay smile. It was lost and pleading, but still we could not speak. Then they said, we shall report our find to the city council, and both of us will be rewarded. And then we spoke. Our voice was hard, and there was no mercy in our voice. We said, we shall not report our find to the city council. We shall not report it to any men. They raised their hands to their ears, for never had they heard such words as these. International, we asked, will you report us to the council and see us lashed to death before your eyes? They stood straight all of a sudden, and they answered, rather would we die. Then, we said, keep silent. This place is ours. This place belongs to us, equality, and to no other men on earth. And if ever we surrender it, we shall surrender our life with it also. So keep in mind, when he said this place belongs to us, he only specifies himself. He does not specify International. All right, probably out of some, loyalty for International's sake, that, International really wants nothing to do with this tunnel. Equality wants everything to do with this tunnel. Then we saw the eyes of International were full to the lids with tears they dared not drop. They whispered, and their voice trembled, so that their words lost all shape. The will of the council is above all things, for it is the will of our brothers which is holy. But if you wish it so, we shall obey you. Rather shall we be evil with you than good with all our brothers. May the council have mercy upon both our hearts. Then we walked away together and back to the home of the street sweepers, and we walked in silence. Thus did it come to pass that each night, when the stars are high, and the street sweepers sit in the city theater, we, equality, steal out and run through the darkness to our place. It is easy to leave the theater, when the candles are blown out and the actors come onto the stage. No eyes can see us as we crawl under our seat and under the cloth of the tent. Later it is easy to steal through the shadows and fall in line next to International as the column leaves the theater. It is dark in the streets, and there are no men about, for no men may walk through the city when they have no mission to walk there. Each night we run to the ravine, and we remove the stones which we have piled upon the iron grill to hide it from the men. Each night, for 3 hours, we are under the earth alone. We have stolen candles from the home of the street sweepers. We have stolen flints and knives and paper, and we have brought them to this place. We have stolen glass vials and powders and acids from the home of the scholars. Now we sit in the tunnel for 3 hours each night, and we study. We melt strange metals, and we mix acids. We cut open the bodies of animals which we find in the city cesspool. We have built an oven of the bricks we gathered in the streets. We burn the wood we find in the ravine. The fire flickers in the oven, the blue shadows dance upon the walls, and there is no sound of men to disturb us. We have stolen manuscripts. This is a great offense. Manuscripts are precious, for our brothers in the home of the clerks spend 1 year to copy one single script in their clear handwriting. Manuscripts are rare, and they are kept in the home of the scholars. So we sit under the earth, and we read the stolen scripts. 2 years have passed since we found this place, and in these 2 years we have learned more than we had learned in the 10 years of the home of the students. We have learned things which are not in the scripts. We have solved secrets of which the scholars have no knowledge. We have come to see how great is the unexplored. The many lifetimes will not bring us to the end of our quest, but we wish no end to our quest. We wish nothing save to be alone and to learn, and to feel as if with each day our sight were growing sharper than a hawk's and clearer than rock crystal. Strange are the ways of evil. We are false in the faces of our brothers. We are defying the will of our councils. We alone of the thousands who walk this earth, we alone in the hour are doing a work which has no purpose save that we wish to do it. The evil of our crime is not for the human mind to probe. The nature of our punishment, if it be discovered, is not for the human heart to ponder. Never, not in the memory of the ancient ones, ancients, never have men done that which we are doing. And yet there is no shame in us and no regret. We say to ourselves that we are a wretch and a traitor, but we feel no burden upon our spirit and no fear in our heart. And it seems to us that our spirit is clear as a lake, troubled by no eyes save those of the sun. And in our heart strange are the ways of evil. In our heart there is the first peace we have known in 20 years. All right, so you get to the end of this. He knows he's committing a crime, but he doesn't care. Okay? And now that's part of your question for tonight is you have to figure out, why does he feel this way? What is more important to him? All right? Is it that he gets punished, or is it, is he fearful of that, or is it something else? And that is for you to decide. So this is where we end this section. Please finish your short writing responses and submit those, and we'll see you next time on the next installment.